This presentation has been brought to you by Laureate English Programs Japan, dedicated to helping learners achieve their dreams. Welcome to the animated part of this blended workshop on developing 21st century skills through blended learning. The aim of this animation is to first, develop an awareness and understanding of 21st century skills and their importance in the modern-day learning and working environment, and second, to prepare for the face-to-face workshop delivered at St. Thomas University. We'll be going through 3 steps. First, you will watch part 1 of this recording. Second, you will do a bit of research online. And finally, we will wrap up with part 2 of the recording. Are you ready? Great! The first question we need to ask is why? Why do we need to transform, change the way we look at education? Well, what I like to call the 21st century learning landscape is a very different place than what it used to be. For one, we are experiencing a drastic change in the way our economies work today, and technology is driving this change. Actually, our technologies have always driven change. Let's take a brief look at the most important changes in our society and see how time is, in a way, accelerating. If we look back to the beginning of humankind, we lived in hunting and foraging societies. People lived in tribes, tools were rudimentary, and there was no real need for formal education. The elders in the tribe would teach you how to hunt and which berries were good to eat, and that was pretty much good enough. But then fast forward to 12,000 years ago, and we see the first major shift in human culture. We started developing into horticultural and pastoral societies. We developed new tools, and this changed our way of life. Small gardens, a few animals, and education mostly happened within family units. Then about 7,500 years ago, we went through another major change, the agricultural revolution. New technologies increased our food production, we developed into city-states and started building empires. But education here was in a sense, as it always was, through a form of apprenticeship. You learned what you learned by skilled elders, and most of the time, this was your dad, and the skills stayed in the family. If your father was a blacksmith, good chances you would become one too, and your son would do the same. But then fast forward again to the 18th century, and we see a major change in our way of life. The Industrial Revolution was driven by the creation of powerful technologies, namely the steam engine, that made it possible to create factories and produce goods for much larger portions of the population. We had massive influx of people into the cities to work in these factories. And the first true systems of mass education came to be: school. Kids are put into classes determined by their age, and they are taught to read, write, and do basic math. Only a few people here get to go to university. But now, our economy is driven by information. In a very short period of time, our economy has shifted from a place where most people earn a living with their hands to an economy where if you want to earn more than a minimum wage, you need a skilled mind. And the result is that, nowadays, most young people go to university and get a specialized degree. A 2009 report by UNESCO states that soon we'll be producing more university graduates than since the beginning of time. Even now, about 50% of young people can go to university. So are we getting smarter? I think we are, but we still have some pretty serious problems. A recent report by the McKinsey Global Institute showed some alarming facts. In the world now, approximately 75 million young people are unemployed, and about 3 times as many are underemployed. At least half of these kids nowadays are not convinced that their university education has improved their chances of finding a job. And at the same time, almost 40% of employers say that a lack of skills is the main reason they can't find people to fill their positions. So something's not right. Most people go to university, but at the same time, people are less and less employable. The question is, does having a degree really mean that you can get a good job? Well, not really anymore. We need to do 2 things. We need to develop better skills in our learners, and we need to create more jobs. Now, since our job is in education, let's look at the skills we need to develop in our learners. To do this, we need to first understand the landscape, the type of economy in which we live. First, nowadays, people are always connected. ICT is revolutionizing the way that people communicate at work, at school, and at play. We live in a time of constant communication. This means that the world is getting smaller and different cultures are converging. Suddenly, foreign is not so foreign anymore. And the amount of information available to us is increasing exponentially. The internet allows us to not only access information, but to create it as well. So communication on a global scale and information hyperabundance. No wonder our economies are so different. And no wonder our learners need to perform at a higher level. Every young person will need new skills if they are to have a successful career, if they are to be successful learners, and they are to be active and informed citizens in our new global information economy. Luckily, we know what these skills are. Take about 30 minutes and do a bit of research online on 21st century skills. Start with YouTube. Take some notes about what the skills are and what are some of the challenges teachers face. Then, come back to the second part of this animation. All right, good luck!